Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, whenever you are tuning in to catch this Lenten word. I am Pastor Carol, and I am glad to be with you on this journey. Here we are, entering the season of Lent. This season is one of the many holy seasons that we name and lift up in the church. Did you know these seasons are not actually named in the Bible? Then why do we observe them, you might ask? The liturgical seasons of the church year are a teaching tool for us. We remember our faith story through the seasons of the church. I truly believe that everything about the church is Christian education. We learn what it means to follow Jesus by how we worship, how we serve, what we study and learn, and we teach the world around us by how we act and are present in the community. What do our signs say on our church property? What does the property say? Notice the handicap parking and the accessibility of our property the next time you're here. Our signs say who we are. Our care of the property offers a welcome and a witness. Yet, if people do not experience welcome, both through our property and our buildings, and also by our behavior and our relationships, then it may not matter what we say as we claim to be Christians following Jesus. Back to the liturgical seasons. They are a teaching tool. The church year begins with Advent, 4 weeks before Christmas. Then we celebrate Christmas. And then the Christmas season ends with Epiphany. Then following Epiphany, we have ordinary time, followed by the season of Lent. Next comes Easter and the Easter season until Pentecost, after which we enter another ordinary time. That's the year. Have you seen maps to indicate exactly where you are by including a large arrow and the statement, "Here you are"? Well, the arrow is pointing right now to the season of Lent, because that is where we are in the church year. Lent begins with Ash Wednesday, when we remember our mortality. We name that God created us of dust, and we know in the cycle of life that we'll end up dust once more. You know, you've heard ashes to ashes, dust to dust. We acknowledge that God is God and we are not, though we are made in God's image. There is that of the divine in each one of us. Remember, you are holy. I like what I heard once about each of us being made of stardust. It somehow, well, it sounds a little more divine, heavenly, more divine than just earth dust. And yet, if God made it, it is holy, even dust. During the season of Lent, we study the journey of Jesus in a little more detail. We lift up what he did in his life, not just what he said. I can say a lot of things, but you'll know more about me by what I do. Jesus did share a lot of preaching and teaching. He also prayed for God's guidance and for other people. He fed hungry people simply because they were hungry and with no stipulations. There's a lesson. He didn't say, you were hungry last week and I gave you some food. Do you ever wonder if some of the same people who came to the feeding of the 4,000 people also came to the feeding of the 5,000 people? There are different feeding stories in the Gospels, He fed them all, and he healed many people, including listening to their stories and their woes, including being present with them through their grief, including them in community, and caring for their eyes and their ears and a withered hand and every manner of illness. He healed many people. Think of the ways that you can follow Jesus. In our confirmation class, we talked about what that means. Think about the game, follow the leader. When you go behind the chosen leader and do exactly what the leader does. We did talk about that and how following Jesus is a whole new kind of game. You're probably already a better follower than you might realize, my friends. And we're doing it together. As we journey through the season of Lent, on the way to the highest Christian holy day of Easter, I encourage you to learn more about following Jesus. Read maybe the book of Mark, the Gospel according to Mark in the Bible, at least the first 8 chapters or so. I say this is the story of Action Jesus because he's so busy doing God's work. There's not a whole narrative about his birth in the Gospel according to Mark. He shows up as an adult. Oh, imagine if we always showed up as adults. Take time, my friends, to reflect on his journey and your own. Let's follow the leader. Amen.